Live. Live.
Yeah, dude, I was in here like rearranging stuff. Like crazy yesterday. What's what represent?
Star.
Oh, that's the Vietnam Star. That's their flag.
Oh, okay.
That's like the North. Well, that's their flag. That's their regular flag. But before we went over there, actually, I almost used the like. I think
Why is it? Why would it be different?
it's like it's
Is it
like
like
the
the
South Vietnam flag.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of it'd be like flying the Confederate flag here, you know.
Mm.
But like obviously most of them that came over here that were from the South, like they sided with the U.S. and so like at Chinese New Year and shit, they all fly that flag.
What part of Vietnam did you move to?
Fly this there either, except for like right in Saigon. But
Saigon. That's where I go get my pho.
oh, hold up, let me get this.
Saigon. I'm gonna do like an ad. Saigon on Oakdale Road.
Just trying different shit each time, dude, till we get it dialed in.
Nothing wrong with that.
Kill the sound. Audio.
I went like super half-ass in the gym today.
Did you?
3 days I didn't go, and then I kind of tied it in with eating like shit.
Oh,
Not
like,
shitty, just eating whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. Like before, I was like, okay, I'm gonna eat at this time, and I'll have my snack at this time. I was on like a meal plan,
yeah.
and I was following it to a T for like 3 weeks. And then, you ever tried that one?
Yeah, you check. Yeah, I don't fuck with those either.
Those are half of the can of Bang is the whole can of that.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's 300 milligrams for a can of Bang.
They marketed the shit out of that stuff, dude. Because
Dude.
all like the gym people, they all want it because they must have sold it in the gyms. It has BCAAs.
It was in the gyms
like,
prior to, and then they dropped the price to like 2 something, and they just started cranking through them, dude. And random people drink them. Like before, there was like, oh, pre workout, I'm gonna drink a Bang, and now people just like drink them on their way to work.
Yeah, yeah. That's my boys down at the shop. That's
ingredient list. I know it's got CoQ10
on a Bang.
Yeah, I know it's got
let's pull it up.
creatine and CoQ10, and this drink I drink right here, these Fit Aids, these Recover, got glutamine. It's got a recovery blend: turmeric, quercetin, CoQ10,
is that?
electrolytes. This is what I always drink.
It's called Recover.
Yeah, it's this is Fit Aid Recover.
Fit Aid.
And this one's not a lot of caffeine. It's green tea extract leaves.
Let's see. This says carbonated water, citric acid, anhydrous, other natural and artificial flavors. I hate when they say that.
That means that means sugar substitute.
Yeah. Caffeine.
What are you taking, bro? Creatine. Oh, you never took super creatine?
But it's got the little trademark symbol next to it. So all that means is it's just the name they came up with. It's nothing different. It's just creatine.
Super.
But it'd be like,
it's got the little TM.
Yeah, like you trademarked like Vince's creatine, and it's still just creatine you got from
still
China.
Like creatine monohydrate.
Yeah,
but unflavored. That's what I take. Creatine monohydrate.
Or the vice versa. Your body, that's what it does. It. So I wonder if you just injected that into your body, if it would be more efficient.
Like steroids.
Yeah.
Like
you know how like testosterone, like when they give people testosterone therapy, like the injections are 1,000 times better than taking the pills.
I think your body just metabolizes it quicker, and it gets your body. How much are you actually getting?
Yeah, I think you excrete a lot more. Because if your body is busy like taking
some
up
of that
other
shit's
nutrients
time release, supposedly.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe in all that shit.
Yeah.
I believe in steroids, not taking them. It's just I believe that they work for. If you take steroids, it achieves its job. cycle off and this and that. But like you say, hey, I'm gonna take BCAAs pre-workout. You know, I don't think that really works.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, dude.
you know, for me,
I don't know, like necessarily how I feel on steroids because I know that they obviously they work, but all the people that you see that juice like their whole life, they don't live very long.
I think that's because of
It's probably
the people,
lifestyle though.
the people that are consuming it. Getting them from some dude making them in his garage.
Yeah.
You know, like and then those dudes that usually go that route are not going to take the healthy route anyway. You know?
But I mean, when you're doing that, like my friend that did steroids, we like same thing. We got him from some dude that said he got him from like a horse scientist or something, you know. Like, but there's no way that you're gonna verify that. My massage therapist, he could get it for us. And I'm like, damn, dude.
My massage therapist.
That's cool.
I mean, I don't know. I believe it works for people that need it. Like they give people steroids when they're coming back from an injury, like a natural, like you know, they take a steroid to help you heal faster. Steroids don't make you jacked. It's like, no, you took steroids and then the next day you can hit the gym just as hard because the steroids helped your body recover your muscles already healed, so you're like, oh, right back at it, and then you just keep growing, as opposed to like if me and you were to do 100 push-ups a day for a month, we would probably gain some form of muscle and size and lean, but we wouldn't be jacked.
Yeah. Tissue and stuff, so that you can exert yourself harder. That's what I think people don't get. I think they think it's like Popeye, like, oh, I'm gonna eat this can of fucking steroids and all of a sudden be yoked and like have superpowers.
Well, I'll tell you right now,
it doesn't necessarily work that way.
I ate spinach when I was younger out of a can.
Into that too, and my cousin would eat it out of the can. And I thought it was so nasty. I would just eat like the regular leaf, like the leaf spinach from the produce section.
I like spinach now, like baby spinach, and mixed with some eggs and some ground turkey. I love it with some avocado, but like spinach out of a can or steamed spinach, I'm like, so it's like, oh, you know, they were marketing
I used to watch
spinach out of a can. And then now, like every commercial you see, like you'd never see a commercial where some guy's like, "Hey, eat kale out of a can."
Well,
you know,
not
like
yet, dude. Maybe you just came up with a good marketing idea.
I mean, only thing I eat out of a can, dude, is
what's the brand that they're hecka good? Do they put like gravy in it and stuff?
I don't know.
Brown sugar.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Well, like, cook them like a homeless guy. Like you just put them on
over the fire
in the
can open up the top
out of it. That's hecka good, dude. That's actually one thing I wanted to talk about. Was like the homeless thing going on here in Modesto. I mean, it's been always going on forever in Modesto.
And then I realized it was actually true. Like that was something on the news.
But the guy that was like I think he was like a city council member or something, and he's on there talking like, oh yeah, we're very proud of these shelters that we've built for these people and stuff. And I'm like, you're proud of that? Because all that is like a slightly better tent than he already had. Like, how are you? I don't know, into like a living quarter for homeless people or something, but you're proud that you built them some tents under a fucking bridge?
Well, I think they're saying like they're proud that they've cleaned it up and given these people an opportunity. But like what you're saying is I would never be a councilman. It's like, I'm proud that we got a home. Sometimes mental illness goes hand in hand with homelessness. Some people are homeless by choice. They were like, I'm going to go off the grid. They don't have the support system that they need.
Yeah.
To either get the help that they need or get the financial stability that maybe they're like, they were an orphan or their parents disowned them because of drug use, or they didn't understand that they had issues mentally. by the Prime Shine and that grocery outlet on Prescott and Brigsmore, and there's like right by the laundromat, dude. There's like a little community, and up and down Brigsmore, there's like a little fucking community, like people just homeless, and I'm passing by. I'm like, damn, that's crazy, you know. But I'm not doing anything about it. So, you know, what am I gonna say? I'll get you some help.
Like, to me, it's good, like what they did, and for them to brag about it on that little news video too was kind of stupid because it was from like it was privately funded, all that stuff, anyways.
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying that it's bad that they did it. I think it's good that they did. I drive by there like almost every day. Like,
yeah.
Anytime I go to the shop, I take that route, and I cut through there last night, like late, like 12 at night, and they got
late night.
that. Did you ever go by Beard Park when it was like crazy? Right?
I used to go through there a long time ago.
Did you see it when it was like the tent?
Yeah. Well, no, I seen it. So I remember it before. You know, just that little come up, and I didn't know that. I think Gallo owns that park, right? That whole land piece over there.
So.
And that was before, so I'd still see people like taking their kids there, you know, and like maybe the cannery would people would go there on their lunch or whatever to eat, and then like as the years went on and progressed, it's like remember when it off for a long time, so nobody can go in there, and people were living there because I'd pass through every once in a while, you know, going back to the yard or something, and I'm like, damn.
But actually, you should drive by it when you leave here today, because what you're gonna see is the amount of tents. There's like the fat hill, right, that goes down into the park.
Yeah.
For everyone was living on that hill. I don't know if it was to like avoid being in puddled water or what.
I'm sure it was,
but it was like
when Dry Creek
completely packed.
When it rains a lot, that floods.
You would see people. They had like a water setup, like a little community shower down there and stuff, right? And so when they started building these other tents that are just like not even maybe 100 yards away underneath that bridge, and it's
nice, under
it's graded.
The 9th Street Bridge, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they graded it, and they're nicer tents, right? They're big tents, and whatever. And when I drove by there last night, and lights and stuff.
Yeah.
So they set one of those up outside of that new encampment. And what I could tell from driving by was that you have about half the people are in that new encampment and half of them stayed back in that old encampment. So what I'm thinking is like the people that are actually suffering, trying to get better, or I guess not necessarily suffering, but trying to get better or trying to improve their situation probably moved to security, safety, because they said they had kids down there and stuff too. So that part of it was kind of cool to me. And then I think you get to then you get to Beard Park where the people are still there. That's like probably like the more, I guess you would say, like criminal homeless, right?
They're filtering them out.
Like, you know, like obviously they don't want to walk past the police camera for whatever.
Can they, so I would have to ask like the person that is organizing it, like how are they filtering it out to determine who gets to go to this newer, nicer facility? Because I heard they got lockers, showers. You know,
can you get kicked out? Like,
yeah, like I'm sure. And then I'm sure some people were like, from just random people when we talked about it, is like that they're moving them for now, and they're gonna like redo Beardbrook Park for them to go back.
I don't think so. I think that 9th Street area is where they're trying to put them, because you
but
see how they're
on the video
redoing
it
that
says
whole
temporary.
area. I don't know though, because I guess, you know, when they had that law, like I guess they passed it where you couldn't, either could or you couldn't camp in a park, right? And it was like, I think it was you couldn't sleep in a city park or whatever. They tried to say it was illegal, and then like a homeless guy, I think in Manteca, fought it and won. And that was when it like
he fought the system.
That's like when here. And then they were like, what the fuck? Like, you're going to cite us. We're already screwed. Like, how are we supposed to get out of the situation when you're here? Like, where are we supposed to go?
Like,
and I think they designated, like, okay, if you're in this park, we're not going to fine you. We're not going to go after you. And then, you know, then they decided, well, shit, we got to make it, like, a little bit better. And I get it. Like, I like that they are trying to make it better. what I was thinking of last night. Talked to this homeless dude, and he was from Roseville, and he would always talk about Modesto. Yeah, like I always thought about going to Modesto because they take care of the homeless there. But then I heard Seattle, they take care of them more, so I came up here, and I've been here for like the last however many years. And he has like a kid, not that lives with him, but like he has a kid that's like an adult now, and all this stuff. And he was actually talking about.
Shit.
He was like, "Yeah, just take me." I forget how long he said.
Is he more of like an off the grid nomad?
No,
or
really.
Is he like, or is he homeless because he can't afford to live in Seattle?
I think he was like homeless partly by choice. You know, I think he just figured like it was for him. I don't think he had much going for him, and it was just kind of like, I don't want food, you get clothing, like, and I think that is starting to go away there a little bit.
Maybe.
But I wonder, when you see like a town like Modesto, because remember that like the Bay Area, the Southern California, they used to like bus them here and drop them off.
I even heard other states bus them here.
Yeah, and like if you know that a city, right? Because mind that, oh yeah, we want to help these people. That to me, I feel like that's gonna attract more of them. And I had like this picture in my head of like, you remember like the migrant caravan from South America coming to the United States?
Yeah.
I picture like a big ass group of like homeless people like deciding they're gonna come to Modesto because Modesto takes care of like the homeless. You
know what would be fucking fucked up? It's just like they've made brochures and they're passing them out to like homeless communities in other cities or other states, and they're like, hey, check this place out. And it's like Modesto, bring, you know, and then you open it up, it's like showing the Modesto. It's like the homeless Beverly Hills.
It reminds me of that show Trailer Park Boys that I watched.
Oh yeah.
You know, because I think at one point they build like these sheds and they're trying to make it like a vacation resort, yeah. You know, and he's like, yeah, dude, you can bring your cats with you and everything.
They have that Salvation Army shelter on 9th and D. That thing's huge, and yeah. I think the overflow that doesn't make it in gets to go to Beardbrook because it's right down the way. Like if you don't make it in for that night, like don't you have like you're not guaranteed a spot there, right?
I mean, like, I'm sure they not. Have you seen like you got to make that drive on the way out, dude?
Yeah.
100 times that many.
Could it be that Modesto has made an effort to gather their homeless from around the city and the outskirts and pile them all into one controllable area?
No, I mean they're all gonna come to this area. Like you're gonna go to downtown because, like, if you're begging for money, that's where they're scattered in other places. Like I still see them down, you know, like Loma Park. They used to always be down there. There's hardly any down there now. You know.
Yeah.
You still get one or two that are probably like, you know, in their mind, like, I'm not trying to be a conformist with this, you know, or whatever.
I'm not trying to be one of
doing
those
their own thing.
Homeless people that's organized.
But it kind of scares me that kids were living in that park.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how are you gonna let that happen, dude? Like that to me, that's not okay. In what movie was that? I think it was, you know, that Justin Timberlake movie where they all have time, the rich people have more time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Didn't they live like in those like super compact, like high-rise apartments that are like tiny? Was it that movie? That's like barely livable, but is like habitable, you know? And
maybe,
and just tell people that that's normal, and that that's okay.
I mean, you got to think about it this way. For me, like homelessness is the circumstances that those people had to get, but they disassociated themselves from their family either because of disagreements or something, and they didn't want to be what their parents wanted them to be. You know, it's like, oh, you got to go to college and you're going to get you know, we're going to pay for this, a 4-year school. Some people go against that. They buck the trend. Modesto, where they're all, these people that are connected, and it can either be orchards, people that own orchards and real estate and land, and you know, it could be one of their, it could be a, like let's just say that in one of those homeless camps, there might be somebody that's from Gallo, like the Gallo family.
Yeah.
That's just like, I'm not going to be there and follow some crazy stories, because you're going to be like, well, how much of this is fact versus fiction?
Well, I feel like we should
in their
do that
head
to a certain degree.
No, man, that's crazy though. I know this guy at my gym. He was like, he takes in homeless people and he like lets them stay with them. And he was telling me like, yeah, sometimes it works out. Sometimes they try to stab me with a knife. And I was like, and he's like, but I like it because I know.
I crossed the 7th Street Bridge, right?
Yep.
And on the 7th Street Bridge at midnight, there was like 5 or 6 people walking around. There was like this lady and this man arguing, and it's raining, right?
Mm-hmm.
The lady and this man arguing. There's some lady just like, fucking talking to the wall while she's walking. There's like people pushing shopping carts and walking down the middle of the road. Right, so you have that spectrum, and then I'm sure you have the spectrum because I was in that same article or a follow-up article. Be on this little crew that cleans up the city. It'll help them give like resume experience and blah blah blah. Right?
Who funds that though?
I think
is that taxpayers?
No, I think it's privately funded also. And the thing that I thought was fucked up about this, right, is that they were like, yeah, they get a $20 stipend. Like, you're hella exploiting them, dude. They're already in a bad situation, and you're gonna pay them $3 an hour now, like on top of that.
But what are you providing them? Are you providing them roof over their head and food, or you're just saying, hey, look, we'll pay you to work?
No, it's just like, so I guess they have like 10 or 20 slots available on this crew.
Would pay the city workers to do that job.
And so, to me, that's kind of like, I feel like that's exploiting them, dude, because you might say that you're trying to help them like establish responsibility, have something to put on a resume, or to say they have job experience or whatever. But really, all you're doing is like getting them used to making $3 an hour.
I see what you're saying. Rehabilitation to get you back, to say, hey, look, we'll put you, where you can make money, and then we'll get you in a community, and then you're going to get introduced to somebody and eventually get a job and have living quarters on your own, whether it's in an apartment or studio where you can afford it, after so many, that like,
that would be a good logical situation, but that's not what it is.
No, if it's just using them strictly to clean up the city, and you're
like, if it just ends there, then,
if it ends there, then it's not worth.
Then it's a cool news story, or whatever. It's like something to make you like
clickbaity, to make you look good.
It's a good thing for you to post on your Twitter account. Make you look
it's
good.
Like it's like when the politicians are out there and they're they're just like, hey, how you doing? Camera's not rolling anymore. No, why? Get these fucking people away from me. And you're like, I mean, you never know, dude.
Yeah.
I've never looked at it like, oh, I'm better than you, or rich people are better than me. It's like, humanity should be, if you have somewhat of a heart in humanity, it's better. Or if you're doing it for attention, then shame on you. But it's like, who knows people's true intentions? We've got so much shit going on in this this nation.
It's hard to just like even really have a good opinion on it, because I don't know like the majority of the situation.
You know what it is a mass. People look at it as a mass. Like you used to teach. You were a teacher, and you'd have what, 30 students average?
On a good day, dude, usually like 40.
Okay, so you take that group of people, and let's just put it in like a perspective of the nation in America. You can, if you were to be a teacher for individuals, so let's say each student had their own teacher, and they can learn at their own level. So there was 40 kids in a class, and there was 40 teachers in a class, and you said, you know what, we're gonna work on this curriculum, and you're like, oh, my kid's already on stage 6, and this kid's on stage 3, so sprint when it comes to education, when it comes to work. And what happens is people get frustrated with their level of learning. Kids get bullied and ridiculed because they can't read when other kids can read better, and then other kids are good at math, and some kids suck at math. And it's not that they don't get it, it's just that they learn differently. And so you could be like, let's just say you are so smart you became a politician, and somebody in your same graduating class is still working at PetSmart because they don't get it. They've never been given that opportunity to be like, hey, you learn at this level, you learn at this level. That person might be a good politician too. It's just they don't have that opportunity because they didn't learn it as fast as you. And then I didn't think like I wanted to go to college. I'm like, why? I already struggle in this, and that. Why am I going to go to college? I'm rather just work, you know. And then I applied myself, my blue collar, hardworking labor into. I turned that into something where I get paid as good as somebody with the college degree.
Yeah,
or better.
But see, you had like, okay, this lady that works at PetSmart should just be. We're gonna give her a chance to be a politician because she might be good at it, you know. I think that you do kind of have to establish yourself. I'm not saying that it's through college or through a degree or through whatever certain training, but no matter how much of that individualized attention and instruction you give someone that's struggling, that education was, we look at it that if the outcome of what we do isn't perfectly equal, we feel like we failed, right? And I don't think that that's necessarily possible, you know, because it's just not possible, dude. Because there's some people that I think where we get lost is just because you're not like in that upper like echelon of intelligence doesn't mean that like you can't provide value somewhere else. And I think that we are so focused like on technology and like we fantasize or what is it when like you put like being rich up on a pedestal, you know, like we think it's a good thing, and that isn't just purely about money. You know, it's kind of like how like artists, that's what I think of, right? Because I'm not an artistic person, but like I can appreciate like someone that's passionate about art, but we don't value that, you know, as like a society. People that like make music, someone that designs like a cool app, right? When's the last time you like bought an app? Would you buy an app that you knew nothing about for $5?
No,
but you'll try a new one of those for $5.
Yeah,
huh?
Yeah, for sure.
Right, but which one's going to give you more satisfaction? Probably the app, right? Or a book,
sure
or a piece of art, or is not mattering by people that aren't interested in that and have different like different motives.
Okay, so like kind of what you're saying is there's a monetary value on certain things. So if you're an artist and the people that are going to support you are people that
art, whether it appeals to everybody or not, don't you think that it does play a major role like in society in general?
Yeah, I agree 100%.
You can't like, if we just eliminated anything that wasn't about making money, dude, this would be a fucking boring ass weird place to be, you know. And I feel like we're going 3,000 employees or whatever it was like a while back and cut most of their hours. They just released their new Model 3. And they're like cutting, basically getting rid of all the in-store employees, and like the only way you can buy the car is online.
That's what they're saying to make it more affordable. That we can give you this price of this vehicle, but we're gonna get rid of everywhere you could.
What about when no one has a job that can buy all the shit that we're making? When it's all built by robots, right? Who's gonna have the money to buy shit?
That's down the road in iRobot.
I know, it's just crazy to me, dude. Because all right, go for it, dude. What's our time? You went already? I hooked that toilet up in the garage.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
In the garage?
Yeah.
How'd you do that?
Cause like we had a there's like RV dump ports back here, and then one of them like there's plumbing ran to the garage, water and sewer. So I hooked.
Oh, there we go. Boom.
Right now it's just like for an emergency, you know, like if I'm out there working on my car, and I'm covered in fucking shit, like
in grease, and
I could like use the restroom right there, you know. But I'm gonna build a wall around it so it's like a little stall.
What were we talking about though?
Just like Tesla eliminating jobs.
You know, I mean, they're probably basically what they're gonna do is pay people the same and say you need to do more.
Yeah, I mean they've been doing that forever.
But it's like Heineken just laid off like 14% of their and Lagunitas just laid off like 12%.
I know, dude, and all these big like stores are closing. I think big ass companies. I think like it never has before. I think usually it's been passed on to the people. You know, like when we bail the banks out. But I don't think that you can pass this one off to anybody. Nah,
because what you're saying is like you drive like Orchard Supply's closed, baby. Toys R. You know, like you're like, oh, we must have got some money right now, and Orchard Supply closed on Oakdale Road and the one right there next to Toys R Us, and then Sears just closed, and it's not like I don't know if Sears closed nationwide, but they closed in the mall.
Yeah.
And automotive department, like
there's a lot of stuff that is it is better to buy online. I'm not gonna. I mean, I have Amazon Prime and I order shit on there all the time. And there's a lot of stuff that.
But that's what I'm saying. We're contributing to our own doom by buying online.
But
it's convenience.
Like a huge problem with Amazon is knockoffs, right? You'll get something that like is supposedly genuine or made in the USA, and it's like, I'll search it, and I'll go look on Alibaba, and I'll be like, no, dude, here it is on Alibaba for like $1, and you're selling it for $35. You know, like yeah, I'm gonna have to wait a month for it to show up from China, but I could buy the same thing for a 30th of the cost.
Supposed to be like Italian loafers, like straight genuine leather, and then he gets them, and he like pulls them out, and it's like you could feel the oil all over it. Like they were like it was like motor oil type of oil, like and they just stunk. And he said they were so cheap, and he was like, "What?" He goes, "I think he got like 5 pairs for like $30."
Well, that's a thing too, dude.
But I think Amazon was
quality is gone, bro.
Well, I think Amazon was big on not realizing what some of the shit they were selling was bad quality. But it's like now you can't even Apple and Amazon made that deal where like you can't sell aftermarket or refurbished shit on from Mac.
That's probably a good thing. I mean, unless it's coming like I don't know. I don't know how to feel in that because when I've bought stuff, because I've bought like used books and stuff off there, right? And when it tells you that it's used, like, you know what to expect. To me, that's different than just buying something that has beautiful pictures. It looks.
Same one. At home.
I got it. Go feel that thing. It's a huge piece of shit.
Does it come in a little bag, like a little black?
I don't even remember what it came in.
Like it looks like an umbrella.
It like barely stands. It is a huge piece of garbage, right? And that's the kind of thing like you don't want to buy online. Like you need to be at the store and be able to like extend the legs and see like, okay, this is a solid tripod, right?
But how much? One on online for $50.
But that's the thing is you can buy expensive stuff, right? These cables are a good example. These cables are really expensive on Amazon, and they're worse than the short cables. Like you start playing with yours, you're gonna hear it pop and shit.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things. It's like you can fake reviews on there, right? To write a good review about it, and then once you get that going, you get the sales, and it doesn't matter. Like I feel like there's no emphasis on quality anymore, and I feel like a lot of these big tech companies, right? Tesla, I hope doesn't go that way, but I feel like they're going to go that way. I feel like Amazon was that way. When Amazon was new, it was like you knew the stuff you were getting. 5-10 years they operate, right? They lose money until they get enough like subscribers that they can like start selling ads, or they can start doing this, and then they focus straight on profits after that, right? Which, you know, they're supposed to do because we're a capitalist country and all that stuff. But I feel like the quality instantly goes out the window when that happens. You know, like think about Pandora. Like Pandora was free, right? And I was like, that's weird. How is this free?
Or ad free. Like YouTube has that now too.
Oh yeah, YouTube's
or you have the YouTube Premium where you
pay
can
only structure was right around the corner, I think.
If you can close out a video but still hear it, like you got to get that on YouTube Premium.
Yeah, well they did that and then they switched it back. Now
I know, remember for a minute it was like you could still hear it even if you closed it.
Yeah,
because that's the worst. Like if you're you'd have to close it out and it's like it stops playing the video and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, and then they started prompting me like, oh, you can get YouTube Red or whatever, and you'll get it. And I was like, what the hell? And then about a week later it switched back, and then I saw a little disclaimer and it said that was only now on Google or YouTube Music. It won't let you play in the background, but everything else will let you play in the background. I'm like, okay, well, you know, what the hell is going on? There's still Best Buy, which, like, thank God there's still Best Buy. Like, I went and got actually some of the stuff for the setup from Best Buy.
Best Buy's around?
I got these. I don't know, dude. They're actually doing well because they almost went out of business and went bankrupt, and then they've actually snapped back because I think people are getting to that point
where they still they're like, okay, I got to actually see this.
Like I got this from Guitar Center, right? Because I knew it's like a respected company. I have their microphones on my camera. They make a lot of quality stuff. Their adapter is a piece of shit. it like when I plugged it in, it just sounded like everything was all like crackly and messed up, and like sometimes it would recognize it was there, sometimes it wouldn't. And then, you know, I had this other one. Luckily, I had this other one that's back. The package, I'll show it to you later. The wire on it is just like tiny, thin, skinny, no shielding around it.
Yeah.
Like the connections, you can tell just look like garbage. And I'm like, dude, the pictures of it don't look like that online. It looks great online, you know?
Like,
They marketed it well. But yeah, so I was like, when I needed these cables, I was like, I'm gonna go down to Guitar Center because they have a whole wall of like, you can see the cable, you can see that it's like a quality cable.
And it was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And then it's audio, your music, you know, that you're gonna get high quality shit, you know.
And they have everything. That's the thing where like I usually go online is because if you need like a certain adapter or a certain electronical piece, right? You can't really find them places. Like online is the only place. And then you go to Amazon because when you do order online, you don't want to wait 3 weeks for it to come from. I'm so sad that place is gone because if you needed, like when I did the thing in my car, I made the little for like I have that. It basically controls the way that the 4-wheel drive works, right? And it's a little dial. I needed a potentiometer. And it was like, I knew when I went down to Radio Shack, they'd have 7 different kinds.
Yeah.
Right? And I go down there, and sure enough, they have 7 different kinds. The guy that worked there was like an old dude for it, right? So I go, and I went to the one in Manteca. This was like a couple years ago. and it was a kid. This was when they like were trying to like revive their company and become like a cell phone company almost again, you know.
Yeah.
And I think they were like a Sprint store and Radio Shack in one. And I walk in there, and it's some kid our age, or I guess we're not kids. Some dude, like a kid, a younger dude, right, on his fucking phone, doesn't even look up as I walk through the door. Reference and blah blah blah, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, I missed the day when the guy like there was an expert on it. That's why I like True Value. Like, you go in there and they usually still have some old dude that can like you bring in a bolt and like, yeah, I can go try it out on all the things and find the thread pitch I need. I'm capable of doing that. But there's always that old dude that he can look at it and he can go.
And everything's on the computer, you know, and you'd have pictures and you look it up like, oh, you need this part, you need this part. Well, I work with this older guy, and when I transferred to the one on Oakdale Road, you know, I became like a part-time or assistant manager, and they transferred me over. They gave me promotion full-time, and I went over there, and he was so old school. So when we couldn't find something, and that was, you know, they got all the information for the computers from the books, and they just uploaded everything. So you would, in 1994 Ford Explorer head gasket, blah blah blah, and you'd pop it up, and then a lot of times the older guys coming in and they're putting together cars, and they're like, well, no, I can use a Dodge motor and give me a Dodge, you know. And you're like, huh? And I was young, and he would be like, and he's like, oh, because I used it from a different year, Dodge. And so this guy pull up the book, and he'd be like, boom, boom, boom. Let me see that part. And he matched it up, and it was a picture. And he'd be like, this is it right here. And then he go grab it from here. I grab it. You look at it. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And so I learned that from him, as far as like, and this is still.
But see, all that shit is disappearing, dude.
Well, okay, so that's what I'm getting to. So when to school, and I just jumped right on him. I'm like, you need to get a job. You need this. You need to get a license. You need this. You know, basically, how I grew up hearing that from people. You know, you need to have a job at 16. You need your license at 16. You need to get, you know, your grades ready for college. I just gave him this whole, just right before school, and he's like looking at me like, what? I was kind of frustrated with something else, and I was kind of taking it on him, but I was like trying to get him to understand the importance of what I was saying. And I'm like, you have to be prepared. You have to be ready. You have to this, and he's looking at me like, whoa, he just got hit with a wave of like, what the fuck? So I go to work, and I'm talking to my buddy. I'm like, you are a new generation of dad. He goes, you're dealing with a teenager in the new era of social media, of Uber, of Lyft. He goes, there's no motivation for your kid to get a license like you did at 16 to go cruise down McHenry on a Friday night. He goes, he doesn't want to do that shit. Because I'm like, he's playing Fortnite and this and that. And he goes, you're dealing with the new era. You know, he's all, yeah, that's fine and dandy. You can say that. But he goes, he has too many options. He's going to be like, why do I need to get a license? He goes, and why would you want him to get a license right now? So your insurance goes up $250 a month?
Yeah.
He's all, think about it. And I'm like, fuck, I didn't even think about that. You know, he's like, that's how much does that equate to a year? You know, $200 a month on top of your insurance you're already paying right now. This kid? And I go, no, not really. He's also then pay for it.
Yeah.
He's like, you'll save money, bro. And he's like, you'll save less of a headache. What you don't want is that kid at 16, 17 years old driving a vehicle on the street when you know he's not prepared to, and you're paying $250 off the top for him to drive.
The flip side of that argument, though, is that there is a level.
I think you can get that anytime, though.
But no, you can't, because look, dude, here's Mimi's siblings are in that same boat, right? They waited until they were adults, basically, to like get their license, get jobs, do that stuff, right? And we're actually going through a situation now, like where they're gonna move, and you know, there's a lot of things that they're, because they don't have the experience of having done that yet. But here they are, an adult that needs to like do something, and like they're not prepared for it. Right? Something that we think is simple, right? Like, oh, get on the fucking freeway, you know? Like, been doing that shit since I was 12.
Yeah.
But the reality is like, no, dude, they haven't been in a car since they were like 4.
Needing to drive ourselves anymore anyway. So what, you know, are you going to have that? What's the window? Like in 20 years.
But here's what you're doing.
10 years, you're going to have a car that drives you.
If you, right, that is true, and I think that that'll be a great convenience and all that stuff. However, I still think that you need to be able to drive a car yourself, because if you rely on only public transportation or only Uber or only self-driving cars, and our transportation agencies have your interests, like your best interest in mind, which they don't. You know, you're putting your fate in the hands of somebody else. If you say, I don't need to learn how to drive because there's all self-driving cars, right? I don't need my license because I can just Uber. Well, you're relying on somebody else or something else. You know, what about when you have a kid and all of a sudden, stupid little example, but it's stuff like that you're making people so reliant on technology and things that they really don't even know about. So what happens when the self-driving cars break, right? And you don't know how to like fix it or make it work or whatever.
Well, you have when you live out here, like we live out here, you have to be able to drive. There's high-speed rail going all through California where you can get to San Francisco and Lake Tahoe in
But I don't see
25 minutes. Well, I was reading this article the other day about they're still talking about high-speed rail because in other countries like Japan and China, these high-speed rails allow people to work in places that it's crazy. And I'm like, if they had a high-speed rail from Modesto to San Francisco in a hub, how many people out here don't have jobs that can go there, make $20-something an hour, and come back on the same day, and not have to worry about a car, insurance, you know? So like, I get what you're saying. It's valuable in having that ability, but we do it, and I get what you're saying. It's a crutch, but like, so is social media and the internet. It's a crutch so bad because now you can Google. You can WebMD something instead of having to go to the doctor and waste a $40 copay or a $25 copay. You can Google something and be like, oh, maybe it's not that bad. And then if you feel like you need to, you can still go to the doctor, right? But most people,
luxury.
Yeah,
it should be something anyone can afford to go do. You shouldn't have to WebMD it. Driving your own car to work shouldn't be a luxury, right? I get like, okay, let's transition to electrical cars or whatever so we can help the environment and all that stuff, but it shouldn't be a luxury that you have the freedom to be able to rely on yourself. Like, you watched that video I sent you, right, of the people in Hawaii, like, provide for yourself. How is that primitive in living in a society where everything is handed to you? That is like advanced civilization, you know?
Yeah, but she is like an outlier where she's going to be one out of a million that choose to live off the land and dive 75 feet. And we're within 30 minutes of eating there, I saw 7 people come in with those little bags like they're doing the Uber Eats driving, and they're picking up food for people that order. Yep. So it already is a convenience for you to order your food prior to getting there and it be ready. But we've gotten so spoiled that you don't even want to go get the food you pre-ordered and go pick it up. On motorized scooters, overweight and obese, and can't walk because they forgot how to.
Yeah,
you know.
But
like, we're trending that way, not in our generation, or maybe not even my kids, but like,
we are trending that way because think of like, dude, I haven't had a good meal from like a restaurant or a place. Actually, no, I take that back. We got tri-tip sandwich I haven't had a good outside meal in a while, dude, and it's so much harder to cook for yourself now because of just like time constraints and the fact that it is so cheap and convenient to just go to fast food. And that to me, that's such a bad trend, dude, because
I love cooking for
like home cooked stuff is
home
so
cook.
like you have like that feeling of accomplishment because you fucking got it and you brought it home. But I do think that there's like a element to it being fresh and all that stuff too.
Well, that you could relate to what that lady's saying that lives in Hawaii is your. It's not that you're primitive. It's that it brings a euphoria
Yeah.
where you're like, I caught this, I cooked this.
Yeah. And like
I got this ribeye without ever knowing what it takes to kill a cow.
she makes
And
that point, you know, like what when the boats stop coming in, like what are you gonna do? You know?
I see her point because that could be sooner than later for them because of the isolation where Hawaii is at. Let's
Yeah.
just say major. Let's say the ocean takes a turn, and in 5 years, island outside of 20 miles away from an inland empire are gonna do?
Yeah, people are gonna panic, dude, because
Well, they're gonna go back to pre. They're gonna go back to old school civilization where it's like, but
yeah, if
you know,
they
you're gonna be
can,
like,
but wait, don't you get to a certain point, like let's go back to your son driving for a second. Like skills anymore, they'll get lost because guess what, dude? Like if
well,
there
it's
was
like
a, if there was a
the
zombie
alley cat
apocalypse
that
or whatever,
becomes a house cat.
like I know our group of friends, like we're surviving, right? We all know how to fucking shoot guns. We could like we could clean animals. We were
Yeah.
just actually this new dude that well, not a new dude, but he's one of he started out like a week, right? And just like living off the land, like just a guy's trip, like go, don't take water maybe, but don't take any food or anything, and just and have to go out there and fucking survive for a week, right? Just for like, you know,
How long do you think
fun,
you'd
team building,
last?
whatever. I like if we had to, I know we could survive for fucking ever, because I know like
Not eat or what berries are non-poisonous or there is no fish to catch.
well
What
here,
part creeps in where you're like, okay,
if we
this
were in
is getting
California,
scary.
if we were in California, I know we could survive because I know that there's plenty of wild game out there, and I know that there is fish year round in the rivers and lakes there.
When you put your that you're no longer at the top of the food chain at that point. You've got
Yeah, you
bears.
are. You're still top.
Bro,
of the
you've
food
got bears and mountain lions.
chain. Yeah, and we've got AR-15s.
Okay, let's
know what I mean?
let's
Like,
say, but let's say
I'm
you
sorry.
don't. Let's say you guys are bow hunters and you're like, we want to go really primitive. That like that right there.
See, but that's where you take the balance of yes, we have new technology like guns. So why would you go out there with just a
Unless they're going for a day, maybe. But for a week, like there's a couple guys on Instagram that I follow. They're like, they go out, then they're gonna bow hunt, and this guy's gonna take a trip, and he films everything on his phone. And you know, there's points where he's like, oh shit, there's a bear, and he pulls out his gun, but he's like, that thing's charging it. I mean, the rush and your and edits his footage. But like you aren't not even with the gun, you still are not at the top of the food chain.
Yeah, you are. You're still the apex predator there.
I don't think so.
Just like being at the top of the food chain doesn't mean that you're not vulnerable to other stuff, right? Like, yeah, a bear could come fuck us up and kill us, right? But a
One
or
before
none,
before you cap
but
them, or
I'm
none.
confident of those. If I went out with that group of people, I'm confident that he wouldn't get one of us, because
Yeah.
I just know, like, from being around those people for so long and knowing their capabilities, like, I know like it wouldn't be an issue, dude. You know,
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. I
I've-
guess
like-
you'd have to know your
like
I mean, there's only
we're in
a
pretty good shape, dude.
yeah. I mean, I guess the chances of you, the chances are increased of a bear or a mountain lion or whatever. But like if you're in elk territory, you're not really in danger. because you're like, what are they gonna do? You know, are they gonna fucking 6-inch fucking nails
Claws and just being
and just bear claw and just
Huge.
like all I had to picture when you know you're out in the wilderness and you're like we're camping solo and you're just like, dude, picture Leonardo DiCaprio and The Revenant just getting fucking mangled. He had a gun, obviously. Yeah, it wasn't an AR-15, but oh shit, anything could happen, anything could pop off.
Mhm.
But you know you're ready for it. But still, it's like that's crazy. I don't know.
But so
but
like on a bigger scale, when you're talking about like the general public, right? Like if you had to have the general public, let's make it 2 weeks, right? And everyone for 2 weeks had to just like survive.
yeah. And he's never spent the night outside with fucking in the freezing cold temperature. Yeah, that guy's fucked.
So,
And there's a lot of people like that.
you know, like how many? And again, it's something that you never need to use, right? Because you can go down to the grocery store and buy a lighter.
That's a badass picture.
But how many people do you know that could start a fire if they had to?
Yeah. And we take fucking life for granted. I mean, and it was I was watching Castaway with a whole other perspective. It's like the plane crash to the getting on the desolate island where you're having to survive, and he lasts 4 years, and he starts out by throwing a spear in the water, and he's like missing a fish, and then 4 years later he's like throwing it from 30 feet away, and he's like whoosh, right in the middle, you know.
Yeah.
And how many out of them would survive? You know, one, maybe that, maybe one, maybe two, and it's going to depend on their knowledge, their capability, their smarts, like those Discovery Channels, those
I think
Naked
a lot
and
of that,
Afraid
though,
shows,
is
like
just like will, like having the will to survive.
yeah, for sure. I mean, like the Survivor Man one, but you know, you take somebody and say, here's a fucking flint and a knife.
Yeah, but would they let them bring like one item with them or something?
Yeah,
Don't they?
yeah.
So like again,
You get to choose.
that's a challenge, right? Because you're like taking away resources that these people have that they could use, right?
Yeah.
And you're saying, okay, you can have one thing, or you can't have this, or you can't. They have rules. Because I think even someone that doesn't have that experience, like doesn't know how to shoot a gun, or doesn't know how to catch a fish, or cook a fish, or gut an animal, or whatever. I think if you have if you have the will to survive, you're gonna be able to half-ass it enough to survive, right?
Yeah.
Like I've never cut open a deer and gutted a deer, but like and the most knowledgeable or anything about it, but I guarantee I could take down a deer, cut it open, and get the meat out of it, cook it, and eat it to survive.
And then wear it for a coat. Yeah, that's like you're saying, that's going back primitive, and we're trending the opposite way right now, just as society. But yeah, I'm more of nuts, and it's like, you know, but how many people are choosing to do what she's doing?
But think of how much
There's people that are doing it that we don't know about.
Better your mental health would be, dude. If
I think you just appreciate life that much more, and it doesn't matter,
especially in a beautiful place like that.
Yeah. Life, you ate, you got to sleep under the stars, you caught your food, you lived off Earth, as opposed, and you died at 40 of whatever, right? The going on your deathbed, you're gonna be like, I lived a fulfilled life.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't put myself in harsh situations, but you know, so they might think that's a fulfilled life. But to be, I'm talking about you maximizing your abilities as a human being, putting yourself in environments that are uncontrollable and uncomfortable, and testing yourself mentally, testing your mental fortitude. 10 years and just see where she's at mentally, you know, and being at, I don't know, for me, I'd just be like at peace, You know,
Yeah,
I
just
wouldn't
think
care
that
what
it's
age
like,
I died because I'm like, you're living every day to the fullest.
and every day I feel like, I mean, there's a lot of things going on there too. It's not just that she in the morning and like your job is gonna feed you. Like, and I get like technically, you know, your job, you go there, you make money, you're gonna buy food, it's gonna feed you, right? But when you have that like direct, like I hunted and gathered and made this and converted it into edible food and did it. It's like the same reason a home cooked meal's good. Like you did it. It's so much more satisfying.
You know, you caught that fish and you filleted it and you take it home and cook it. You have that like that euphoric, that sense of pride that like, oh, I did this. You know, that's rooted in everybody's DNA, and the more generations that we get away from that, the less and less we'll be appreciative of that. And he ordered it on Uber.
Like to come full circle with that, right? Yeah, like your job technically provides for you, right? But when you see jobs disappearing like they are, and you're doing a job that you don't really have any fulfillment out of, you're just doing it because you get the money or the benefits or whatever to like maintain your lifestyle or have your life. Then all of a sudden, it's going to drive itself to the store. The store is going to be designed where just a fucking pallet rolls off and like it gets sorted into the little vending machine that the people buy it out of, right? That's not even that far out of the future.
Eventually.
And then as like a driver, right? A beer driver. What do you go do now? Right? Even if you loved your job. You know? Whereas if you're someone that just survives out in the wilderness, and I'm not campaigning for like saying, oh, everyone should do this. Like I just think it would be fun and cool. But like that lady, she never has to worry about getting like laid off her job.
Yeah.
Right?
Or yeah, because she knows she can. I think
how fast we're moving.
Imagine if they took everybody. Imagine if they took not everybody. Let's just say like your job it was built into where 2 weeks out of the month they say, Kevin, you're going on a wilderness retreat and you're gonna go and live off the land.
You don't want to force people to do that though either.
No, what I'm saying.
But what is isn't the purpose different for everybody? Because the flip side.
But the original premise is you were born, you lived off the land, you appreciated the land. People praised. There was a god of the sun, of the water, that was multiple gods because they're praising all this that was given to them. Out there doing that. Some people out there like, fucking sun is out, it's hella hot today, bro. You know?
But I know you do this, but I'm just gonna say, just to put it out there, you never like see a badass sunrise or a badass sunset and like just like the being or a higher being or whatever, but you are appreciating that like the earth delivered that to you.
Yeah.
Right? Or the galaxy or the universe or whatever delivered that to you.
Yeah.
And it's nice and you should appreciate it, right? And you can enjoy it. And yeah, there's days where it's 110 outside and you're like, fuck you, son, go away, you know? But I don't know, dude, it's that'll probably be VR simulation, or if it's not already, you know?
You're exactly right. We're moving into an artificial world, and it's sad.
And like, but what I worry about is if it's sustainable, right? Because everything we do, like, is
I think you'll
we're going
know.
green, we're doing this, but
that's crazy.
You ready to call it?
Yeah.
All right, man.
Where's that at?
Dude, I don't know.
Is that Mount Fuji?
Well, see, this is Google too. So at work, the Microsoft like login screen, it always changes when you log. Like,
but it usually tells you where it's at.
No, it doesn't tell you where it's at either.
Oh, it doesn't?
No. So I was trying.
Or is that the Sears Tower?